Hi, today we're going to talk a little bit about the topic of how to negotiate intimacy in a new relationship or a relationship you've been in for a while. A common concern for people who are living with HS is how it impacts their body and how to communicate that with their partner, as well as how to still have a great intimate life. This is especially complicated when you're starting a new relationship and you have to think about things about how do I introduce this topic? And then once I've introduced it, how do I really elicit information about how my new partner might feel about it? And then how do I negotiate what we'll do in our intimate experience? So I wanted to share a few ideas that I think are great takeaways that you can think about that might really take you a long way in figuring out what your style is in doing this. The first thing I really suggest to people is to think about their internal dialogue they have about their body and their thoughts about intimacy. So, is that conversation you're having with yourself particularly negative? Is it harsh? Is it judgmental? And does it leave any space for still the things that you want to do, or is it mostly thoughtful about the things that you can't do? So being aware of that initially, because obviously that's going to be somehow either verbally or non-verbally communicated with a new partner or a current partner. So that's a place to start. Be thoughtful of that, and if you are noticing that it tends to be more negative and more limiting, see if you can think about even what a great the Kristen Neff references this in self-compassion work. Think about how you would talk to your friend about her or his body, and wanting them to feel about it, and see if you can have that same attitude with yourself in your inner dialogue. So that's a great place to start, and just kind of noticing it and then seeing if you can make some small changes in it. We tend to only talk about what we can't do, and that's especially comes across when we have fear, potentially shame, pain. It's the forefront of our mind. This is something that's limiting me, that I'm not able to do. So one of the things that's really important to imagine is most of your symptoms are probably associated with genitals, oftentimes, maybe your buttocks. So that's one place that people experience connection and intimacy, and doesn't have to be the only place. So you have every right to say, this doesn't feel comfortable, or it feels painful to me, and it feels like that falls in the category of don't want or can't do right now in my life. If that's the case, begin to think about the rest of your whole body as also a place of pleasure and a place that you can express and share intimacy. And when you do that, you tend to talk less in limits, and more in possibilities. So in an earlier video, I talked about the idea of the body map. So actually drawing just a figure of a body, and highlighting the areas that you enjoy receiving touch, or you would like somebody to touch you there, and how you want to be touched. Many of the most ancient explorers of intimacy and guides often were much more thoughtful about our whole body and how we experience and interpret intimacy and touch and pleasure. It's much more of a new and we might even guess more of an American social cultural idea that sex in our mind becomes all about intercourse, and as well as a focus on the genitals. And it really is very limiting. So think about the body map exercise, and if that feels like more creative than you feel like doing, a simple, when you're sitting in a waiting room, or even waiting for food to arrive at a restaurant, a good task to do is what I want, what I don't want, what I would consider. And think about all the different touch behaviors, and those could include also things that are exciting to you, like sexy talk, sexting, a movie you might watch together. What are those different experiences you'd like to explore with a partner? And then you can negotiate not just what I can't do or what I don't want, but you can negotiate what I do want, and that can take the forefront. And that's a much more positive and an easier conversation to have, and really quite possible. along with that same idea, thinking about the ideas of different types of touch. So, um, one of the things I always ask people to say is no and. Because when we say to our partners no, it feels like a rejection, and it also shuts down our opportunity. So if we think about what types of touch bring certain different experiences of connection and pleasure to our life, those are another thing to be thoughtful about, and again to list out. So think about the difference between affectionate touch, sensual touch, and erotic touch. You may be in a space today in your head where the idea of something erotic, very, very sexual, does not feel like there's a door open for that. And that's okay. So that's all right if your partner said, gosh, I'm really excited about, giving a really sexual scenario, to say no, and I would like to cuddle with you. I would like to maybe just kind of like be able to take a hot bath and then lay on the bed and just be able to be next to you there. That would be really beautiful to me. Or I would love, a neck and a head massage, and to give that to you. So those might lean more towards either affectionate, the cuddle, or sensual, the other ideas. And then it feels less like a rejection, and it still keeps you open to the health of having intimacy in your life and not shutting the door to that entirely, because that's really so imperative for our basic needs for connection and well-being in our general health. So I hope that some of these ideas might be some takeaways you could use. And I'm thoughtful that everyone's living really busy lives, so I try to think of quick things you could do over the course of even a few minutes that kind of stimulates the brain, gets you thinking, and helps you take that into your communication about these topics with a partner. Thanks.